morning, everyone, and thank you so much for waking up with me on Up with India. Today, I will be joined by entrepreneur and celebrity chef Dana Herbert, the owner of the multi-award winning Desserts by Dana in Newark, Delaware, and host for Date Night with Chef Dana. Chef Dana is known to serve highly sought after celebrities, actors, athletes, and political figures, including Oprah, Ice Cube, Reverend Jesse Jackson, and even former Vice President Joe Biden, just to name a few. He joins me on the show to discuss his unique way of connecting people through food and one of his many missions, which is bringing families back to the dinner table. So I am happy to have him on the show. Thank you so much, Chef Dana, for being here.
Thank you. Thank you.
And you know what? It's really good that I got something to eat before we did this episode because listen, your food, your cakes, your desserts look so scrumptious, and to have to scroll through that and look through that this whole episode, I don't know what I was going to do.
Look, they're all 0 calories today.
Really? Well, that's good to know. Oh my goodness. Thank you again for making the time to be with us here on Up with India. Like I said, I really appreciate it. And I just want to kind of hop right into things. You know, you have been featured on so many different networks. We're talking the Food Network, we're talking TLC, we're talking WETV, Cake Hunters, Cake Wars, you name it. You know, you have been able to kind of showcase your work that I'm sure you've been working on for many, many years. So kind of give us some background here and tell us how long have you been in this career field and why did you decide to step into this world?
Wow, I'm about to tell my age right now. Huh? I have been, let's see, I guess started when I was 16. So wow, 28 years in the food game.
Wow.
That flies by.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, I still look at myself like a young buck, but when you add up the years, right now I'm on about 28 years in the food game. Fell in love with food from grandmom. Grandmom could really burn. And I found myself wanting to, lick the beater from the bowl when you're a little kid, or maybe she's going to pass you some scraps from the sugar cookies she's making. I really didn't know how far I was going to go in this food business. I guess, the seed was planted and here I am.
And yeah, you told us a little bit about your grandmother who is from Maryland, right? Is that correct?
That's correct. We grew up on that whole crab cakes, potato salad type of diet. Sunday dinners were a big thing at grandmom's house. Even though we lived in Delaware, we were frequently in Maryland on the weekends. My dad loved to play golf with, my grandfather and uncles. So we found ourselves at grandmom's quite a bit on the weekends. And she always made sure our belly was full. Wasn't rich or anything like that, but the way that she showed that she loved you was literally through food. She'd feed you until you tap out.
I like that. Where is she? Come over her house and get a plate or something.
Right. Me and my brother would be like, "Are you going to tell her this time? Or am I going to tell her? I don't think I can eat another one. Like, I'm done."
I love that. And so now you've kind of, got bit by the bug of cooking, and you are connecting people and showing your love, for people through food. So talk to me about kind of how you developed, your brand. I'm sure that it didn't happen overnight, but when did you finally officially make it a business versus something that was just started off as a hobby?
Wow. I'm gonna say definitely a lot of God involved in that. I went to culinary school after I graduated University of Delaware, and when I graduated from culinary school, I did a degree on the savory side and the pastry side. A lot of people don't know, but I think I'm a bad boy behind the burner. But I didn't want to lose my pastry skills, so I started this little cake business, literally grassroots. I didn't have a website back then. I just stuffed flyers in mailboxes. That's the only thing I could think of way back then. And I started stuffing mailboxes. The next day, the phone rang, and I got my first order. It was funny. It was the postmaster in the area, and he was like, you can't put flyers in all the mailboxes. I mean, I tell you, I was a worker. I was all the neighborhoods. I'm driving around. He said, "Yeah, so you can't put flyers in the mailboxes, but I'd like to order an apple crumble and a cheesecake."
Oh my goodness.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
So
And
wait
I'm
a
like,
minute, you mean to tell me he tried to, stop your hustle, but at the same time put a couple dollars in your pocket?
he did. You know, he. I guess he acknowledged the hustle and was like, "You just can't do it like that." But let me
Right.
get a couple of them goodies.
I think that's so interesting because
Mhm.
I don't know. As for me, I'm very ignorant when it comes to what it takes to be a chef. Whether that is going to culinary school and everything that kind of goes into that. You described the difference between, what did you say, savory and pastry. Um,
Correct.
that is just not. It's not no knowledge, right? And so you would have to be in this field to know a lot about that. How did you decide which direction that you knew was really for you? Because you could have went in either or. You could have really kind of perfected your craft in savory, but I've seen that you have become most notable for your pastries.
You know, it's funny. When I graduated from college, I took savory jobs. Before I did pastry. I just did the business because I didn't want to lose my pastry skills. I'm like, I needed something to exercise if I was going to be over on the savory side so much. That's how the business was born. I was still working in a savory capacity for a while, and my little side thing just kept growing and growing and growing, to the point where one day I just had to make a decision. I remember I was the head chef for the DRBA, and Desserts by Dana had grown over this time. I think I had just won Cake Boss, and I remember sitting there at the desk, and I felt the spirit come over me and say, you know, your job here is done. It's time to make a move. I was like, okay. Went home, had those hard conversations with the wife. Yeah, I'm gonna give up, great pay and a pension.
How did that go? How did that conversation go?
Girl, she was like, "What?"
Right.
Listen, I mean, I was used to working, 100, 120 hours a week. Like that was me. And I was like, if I'm gonna work that hard, I need to be working for myself. Because if I've built all this already, and it's been a part-time kind of situation, I'm not all the way in it. What's going to happen when I really hit the switch? And so I did that, and I haven't looked back. Um, it's been a good ride, and building the brand. You know what I noticed in building the brand, India, was that especially the more I got into television, there was Desserts by Dana, and then I had to realize that there was a Chef Dana brand, and they were running literally side by side. I guess almost the whole time, but you really didn't see the separation. And once I started winning some of the TV shows and so forth, I realized that there were certain avenues for Desserts by Dana, and there were certain avenues that required Chef Dana.
And
And that's where I have to get back into savory work.
what was the difference? How could one differentiate between the two?
Well, I would say Chef Dana was doing more of the traveling, touring, cooking for, say, like Macy's Culinary Council, or working with some of the pharmaceutical companies as celebrity chefs on their like diabetes team and so forth. So that's where I found that Chef Dana and Desserts by Dana separation. Definitely Desserts by Dana helped catapult it, of course, and put me into a position to be able to compete on these different TV shows. But that's what I noticed after the TV shows. It was like, they want Chef Dana over here. What are we making? Are we making steak and chicken and shrimp? Oh, okay. Well, luckily I do that. Most people just didn't know. And then there's other times where it's like, okay, we want Chef Dana to judge a pastry competition, more in the Desserts by Dana lane. So I guess you could say Chef Dana, I can float both ways, but I get a lot more savory um, action or work on that Chef Dana side, more speaking, etc.
You brought up Cake Boss. Let's talk a little bit about that. Now, was that your first competition that you participated in, or did you do things long before that?
That was my that might have been my third television competition.
Mhm.
First one was, I believe, on WeTV. I was fortunate in that I was featured on that. I was new to that thing.
Mhm.
And they were like, "Yeah, you want to be on the show?" Yeah, I've been waiting to get in the ring and go a couple rounds. Absolutely. And then they were like, "Do you want to be featured?"
Right.
What's featured?
Right.
Oh, but they came to my house, we were hanging out and all that cool stuff. So that was my first. My second one was TLC, I think Ultimate Cake Off,
Mhm.
and then the third one was Cake Boss. So the first two I didn't win,
Mhm.
but I learned a lot. I
Sure.
was like, oh, I see how you guys are playing the game.
Mhm.
Got it. So by the time I got to the third one, I had a better game plan.
Talk
Um,
about the experience, after learning so many great lessons in the first two. Now you're here, you're in the big arena. How was that
mhm.
moment?
By the time I got to that third one, I knew how to prep better. Maybe some of the anxiety of being on some of the shows. There's always a nervousness, but I think I was able to shake that off quickly because
Mhm.
it's like, I've been in difficult situations. Someone asked me once before, "How did you get so good?"
Mhm.
I've been in the hot water quite a bit,
Mhm.
so you get used to it. So that kind of prepped me for that whole Cake Boss show. I remember sitting down with the contestants when we're in the green room, and I'm like, "Yo, we won," and they were like, "What do you mean? We haven't done nothing yet." This is before camera even went on. I said, "Dude, you got picked out of what, a couple thousand people, and there's only 10 of us.
Right.
Well, we won. We're
Right.
being re-aired over. It was like Cake Boss Marathon for years
Mhm.
at holidays. So I'm like, we're gonna be re-aired for years. We're gonna be aired in all these different countries. You won. What do you want to do with it?"
Yeah.
And they were like, "I never thought about that."
Right.
So I think that's what it really prepared me for.
Mhm.
What was the mental side of the business side of being on some of these shows.
How would you say life changed for you after that moment?
Um, I would say it definitely put me in more demand because I hadn't left my other job yet. So I'm sitting there literally, um, and I know a lot of people could attest to this as they're growing. You're burning up your vacation days to
Yeah.
work. To
Right.
work. It's not like I'm on vacation. I'm burning them up to work.
Yeah. Right.
So life got a lot busier, but a lot of doors opened up. Like James Beard's stuff and traveling all over. That's been really cool. Being at the Disney Food and Wine Festival every year for like 6 or 7 years in a row. So I think that it opened some doors. I was coming, but it kicked open a few doors. It was like,
Mhm.
oh yeah, this dude right here, this dude right here.
Who's the one? Who's up next?
Mm-hmm.
Who
Yeah.
would you say has been your favorite client thus far? And I'm talking maybe your everyday clients or your celebrity clients. Who would you say has been your favorite thus far?
Um, Gosh,
I know it's a hard one.
that's a hard one. In terms of everyday clients, I'd have to get you a picture, but we did this like 7 foot cake that was amazing. It was a challenge. It's just huge, so it's a lot to work on, a lot to decorate. But by the time it was over, we were like, "Yeah, we did that."
Yeah.
So that was really cool. Celebrity wise, you know who's the coolest one? Celebrity wise, Ice Cube.
Really? I thought you would say Oprah or something. Ice Cube.
Yeah. Well, you know what? It, Ice Cube, he comes from like NWA, so you're expecting this bravado. You know what I mean? That's just off the start.
Yeah, right.
And he was not like that. He was just real chill. Like I could talk to him. I even remember talking to him about the movie with NWA. It hadn't come out yet, and he was like, "Oh yeah, we got this killer movie. We're working on it now." Like he was just hype about it. He's like, "It's our story. It's gonna be awesome." And he was just down to earth, real down to earth.
Mhm. And what did he request? What was it that you made for
We actually got to work for him a few times. He was working with Coors,
Mhm.
and so we were doing these Ice Cube and Coors cakes.
Oh, wow.
And we totally tripped him out because we took it back in the day to like cassette tapes. So there were like cassette tapes all over the thing with all his hit songs on there, and he was like, "Yo, that's dope,
Yeah.
nostalgia." He's like, "I don't know if I have a cassette tape anymore of some of the stuff I had."
What has been the strangest order that you've received since starting?
Strangest orders probably would be a toss up between. We've done a few chandelier cakes. One of them, they had me on Cake Boss doing the sugar work for it. So
Uh-huh.
we did this cake that was suspended from the ceiling,
Whoa.
kind of like that Trahuli kind of chandeliers. Um, that was different. Um, I think that's the one. Yeah, Buddy dropped that one by accident.
No, are you kidding me?
Yeah, that one had probably about 35 hours of pulled sugar work set
No
up and down. I would get to Carlos Bakery before anybody, and I'm pulling sugar, and everybody's gone. I'm pulling sugar,
Wow.
and yeah, he accidentally dropped that one. That one was strange, and probably the life size car.
A
That was
life-size car. And what did you have to do a life-size car for?
Delaware Auto Show.
Oh, wow. Your
Yeah,
clientele is just so diverse.
it is. It is. We did it for an auto show live in person, no hiding. So they literally saw it being built over the course of the weekend.
Mhm,
That one was tough.
mhm. And how long would you say it took you to create that? Do you think that was the longest project that you've worked on, or has there been something longer than that?
No, I mean that 7 foot cake took longer than the car. However, we had more manpower for the
Okay.
car. You know,
Okay.
what I mean, we had more bodies in there working on that
Mhm.
thing. But it was definitely challenging.
Mhm.
There's no hiding. It's not like TV where they can just be like, all right, I'm gonna edit that or I'm gonna cut that. But they're seeing everything.
Did
Um,
that make you nervous?
in the beginning, I mean, I'd never made a life size car. So in your mind, you're like, this should work.
But
Uh,
what's the worst that could happen?
we're gonna right. We're gonna find out in about 2.5 days, though, if what I'm thinking is gonna work. Hmm.
Exactly. You know, what I really loved about reading about your brand is that component where you talk about, being able to bring food and family back to this dinner table. Talk to me about why that's such an important mission for you. Just, thinking about where we are right now in 2020, but why is that important for you?
Gotcha. So, I mean, with 2020 and the pandemic, it really just brings it back home. But I've always been a proponent of food and family, and that, you know, I grew up in a time when mom and dad worked. You know what I mean? They had to work. My brother and I, we went off to school. It was, when you think about it, the one place where the whole family would be gathered at one time.
Mhm.
You know, because after dinner, what happens? Dad might go into the office to do some work. Mom might go upstairs to grade some papers for school. Me and my brother might watch a little TV for a little bit before they say, "Hey, you gotta go get in the tub."
Right.
So the table was that one place where you would laugh, you would joke, you would have fun. Sometimes you cried, getting scolded. It all happened like at the table. So for me, food and love just kind of, it just went together. It was a natural fit for me. I mean, even stemming back to grandma's, what happened? She'd make Sunday dinner, and all the cousins, aunts, and uncles would come.
Mhm.
Same scenario, just on a bigger scale. And so now in 2020, with this pandemic going on, it's kind of the same thing. Like, we need to focus on the love again. You know, that there's a lots of tension with this pandemic, even with the election, and we got to get back to love. And let's start at the table. You know, looking at the faces of the people that you love and cherishing that moment, and then it just grows. You know, from outside the home and spreads throughout the community.
One of the clients that you serviced, which was former Vice President Joe Biden, there was that key moment during one of the debate nights where he looked right into the camera and said, I know some of you look around the dinner table and there's someone missing because of
Mhm.
COVID-19. And so many families were, just broken and torn apart during that time. What would be your advice to kind of helping them w- bring back the love? How can people come back together and bring their families back to that dinner table that may represent something different now because of lives that have been lost?
Yeah. So it's funny you bring that up. Like, we're closing in on Thanksgiving. which is normally a time when you see all that family, and you're feeling all that love. And, I lost my mother. This is going on the second year. So it was pre COVID, but we still go through the same thing every year where we look around the table and we're just like, wow, what I mean? We really miss her and you miss that loved one. But at the same time, what we've noticed about food and even through scientists, if you let it, food literally takes you back to a point in time when you can smile and be like, oh, wow, I'm eating this right now. And I can literally sit there and have these fond memories of mom and things that she used to say to me and things that she used to do. And scientists haven't figured it out altogether, but they know food does that. It just, boom, takes you right back to these beautiful moments. And so for those families that are broken right now and that have went through some trying times because of COVID and this pandemic and so forth, I just say, I give it up to God and allow some healing to take place and cherish the good moments that you spent with that loved one.
And you brought up such a big point, Thanksgiving coming up. Again, I'm so glad that I ate before I had this conversation because when I think about Thanksgiving, you know how that goes.
Yeah.
What are some of the most sought out dishes that people want during this time? Are they more mac and cheese people, more turkey? What are the requests that you normally get around this time?
Well, it's funny you say that. We have a new show coming out, the Chef Dana Cooking Show
Yeah.
on DETV, and it's we're going to be doing some mac and cheese, and then we're going to be doing some sides in a few different ways that'll kind of help you elevate your Thanksgiving game. But mac and cheese is definitely a popular one. It doesn't matter what ethnicity you are, mac and cheese shows up. Just no blueberries this year.
Okay. That works. So you did say that you're getting ready to do a show on ZTV. Kind of talk to me about when that show is coming out, how people can watch that, because I think that it's really awesome to kind of have a local food network right here in the city of Wilmington.
And that was really my goal in developing a food game for them. As a chef, there is some great talent here in Wilmington. Delaware is not the biggest state, so you don't always see as much of the talent out there on the on some of the television. So I'm like, okay, you know what? We're going to build a regional food network kind of scenario where we can let not just myself, but some of the other chefs in the area really show off and do their thing and really show the talent that does exist here in this great state. So I'm excited about it. We have some great sponsors. BKT, Bath Kitchen and Tile, graciously built the kitchen set, which is right here. They're local, right in Delaware. And then GE came through and they said, hey, pick whatever appliances you want.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome. So you kind of just already have the full layout ready to go. But this isn't the only show that you have done. I saw virtually you were doing something with the kids online. Talk to me a little bit about that before we get out of here.
Oh, that's my little chefs. Let me tell you, these poor kids can burn. We might have to break their fingers or something. Us pro chefs are gonna be in trouble after a while.
Right. Good.
What I love about little chefs is they absorb everything like a sponge. Like you teach them something new in the kitchen, and they turn around and they give it back to you, and you're just like, huh, that fast, huh?
Right.
And these kids, they look forward to cooking. We do it every other Sunday, and they look forward to cooking with me every other Sunday at 3. You can register at chefdana.eventbrite.com, and you're cooking live with me. Like I have the same ingredients that they have, and we are chopping it up.
That's amazing.
They are awesome. Yep, we call it Little Chefs, and they do a phenomenal job.
Have you had the opportunity to get in the schools possibly? I mean, this was pre-COVID. Did you ever have the opportunity to work with, the culinary arts departments in school, high school, elementaries?
We've worked with a few of them. One of my fraternity brothers, Kappa Alpha Psi, greatest fraternity ever. Uh, one of my fraternity brothers is over at William Penn High School.
Yes, I
Ian Baker.
graduated.
Yeah, we worked with him before. We were also worked with Appaquinimink High School, McCain High School. We've worked with them as well. So some of the area. Oh, I can't forget Howard. We've been in Howard a few times.
Yeah.
So some of the area culinary programs we have been able to get in there and work with the kids and so forth. We have a great time. And then we've had some of their kids even come here to intern or co-op and things like that. So it's been a nice relationship.
And when you say come here, where are you located? How can people come and experience your pastries or your dishes, or just come and talk to you?
You can visit us at 1212 Capitol Trail, right in Newark, Delaware. For a lot of the Delawareans, we call it Kirkwood Highway.
Right.
So even when I saw the mailing address, I'm like, where is this? Oh, Kirkwood Highway.
Right.
But it's right there, right in Newark at the corner of Capitol Trail and Red Mill Road. You can also find me on the web, dessertsbydana.com or chefdana.com if you're looking to do some of the virtual events.
And what is next for you, Chef Dana? I mean, out of all the things you've already accomplished, I'm sure that you're not stopping here. So tell us, what's next?
You know, I have the Chef Dana cooking show coming to TV. Eventually, Little Chefs is going to come to TV. We'll have a junior chef competition that's going to come to TV. So we got some cool stuff happening. And then from there on, besides, of course, my bakery, I'll probably be working as a culinary producer to assist some of the other local talent in getting their name out there as well.
Major. That's major. You know, I love the fact that you are not shy to help bring someone else up, whether that's the youth or that's other, you know, your peers, your other talents that are right here in this city. Thank you so much, Chef Dana, for being here and sharing your story.
Oh, you're welcome. You're welcome. I look at the philosophy like I've been blessed to do what I'm doing, and I got a lot more to do. But at the same time, my day will come and my day will go, and we got to be prepared to pass the torch.
That's for sure. That is most definitely right. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Loved having you here on Up with
Thank you.
And I can't wait until your show comes out on DTV. So everyone, make sure that you keep up with Chef Dana because we have to check that out.
Awesome, awesome. Thank you, India.
You're welcome. And thank you to all of you for watching. Of course, for more news, updates, and information, you can always head back here and hang out with me on Up with India. We got a lot of more cool episodes coming up next week. So I'll see you guys next week on Up with India.